My name is Justin Gilliland, and for my first scene analysis, I'm going to do it on one of the Week 6 films, 1997's Lethal Weapon. The scenes of focus for this analysis are those of which introduce a buddy cop aspect and show how the differences between the two protagonists can help create the scene going. Lethal Weapon, the new buddy cop genre. This 1987 film stars Mel Gibson and Danny Glover, who play detectives on two different time spectrums of their careers and completely different work tactics. Their contradicting personalities and butting heads eventually lead to a great partnership and friendship, their whole other long franchise of this movie. The two main characters of this film are Detective Roger Murtaugh and Martin Riggs. Each of these characters were written to have very different personalities and lifestyles, but we'll get into that in a more later slide. What I wanted to focus on specifically with this film is how the writers and the directors were able to make this more than just another buddy cop film. They introduced new concepts or versions of it, which resulted in a more entertaining product in the end. Yet a lot of us that this may seem like it's a typical buddy cop film or that we've seen all the time, but that's because dozens have come out since to imitate it or copy this style of this exciting film. So Detective Murtaugh, played by Danny Glover, he can be described as being more reserved, plays by the book, respects the chain of command. He's a very big family man. This show throughout the film, and it also mentions a lot throughout. He also gets getting too old for this, you know what. His new younger counterpart is Detective Riggs, played by Mel Gibson. The character is much more of a renegade cop, a wild card in the field, single and loner type of man, as he lives out in a trailer on a beach, and then depressed, as shown in that also in that trailer scene. And is a loose cannon that his older partner Murtaugh is a task to contain. From the very beginning, they first introduce each other, or they meet each other, by Detective Murtaugh mistakenly thinking that Riggs is a criminal with a gun at the police station and attempting to tackle him, and failing to do this, Riggs kind of wins that little engagement between the two. This first introduction of the two makes Riggs feel that his new partner is a hard-nosed prude that does not tolerate his style, while Murtaugh instantly sees him as kind of like a young, wild punk. Contradicting styles. The writers of this film wanted to focus on the family life of Detective Murtaugh. This is done to help remind the audience, and more importantly, Detective Riggs, how much he has outside of his work to care about, and that there is more to his life than work, and not to bring it home with him when he does. An age gap in the film between the two partners is also established to help almost make it a father figure style or bigger brother mentality with Murtaugh towards Riggs. He tries to crowd him back down to earth and shows him that things can be normal in life as a cop. This is also though to say without him truly understanding Riggs' backstory with his whole deceased wife, which is introduced to him later on. Riggs likes to get things done not exactly by the book, like stated before. He has a tendency of finding trouble in dangerous situations. This rebel without a cause-like attitude explained in the key scene, which shows him on the beach in his trailer with a gun in his mouth, contemplating suicide. Showing the side of this, Riggs helps us understand why he seems to have little regard to his own well-being, and why he does some of the crazy things he does throughout the films. The key movie scene that I feel is important to the film is one which gives Riggs a sense of hope in the future. And this scene is one coming up, and that's not something that, I don't know, a lot of people may think about, being Lethal Weapon. It's, shootouts, explosions, fun gags between each other, but I think this is a coming scene is one that ties everything together to get the message across, or just a partnership across they're trying to make. And that scene is the dinner scene, where Riggs is introduced to Murtaugh's family and kind of sees a whole different side of him. The key scene that I want to focus on specifically is when they're all in together on the kitchen table, all the introductions are done, He introduced Riggs to his partner's family and life outside of his work. This scene humanizes his partner Murtaugh from being a stuck-up old-timer to a family man that is really down to earth, who just wants to keep them safe and just to finish his boat and little things like that. Allowing for Riggs not only to be introduced to this lifestyle of his partner, it also introduces him to the family, which later on in the film is threatened and gone after by the film's antagonist, Joey, played by Gary Busey. I feel that having this dinner scene kind of ties things in together, and it shows a little tension and unease. When Riggs first sits down, he seems a little awkward or a little uncomfortable being in that situation, and as does Murtaugh. He's kind of he hesitant. He doesn't really want Riggs there, but by the persistence from his wife and his kids, he does have the dinner, or does allow him in. It helped to get this scene gets them through seeing different sides of each other, hearing different stories about it, gets them through and closer together, and going from the initial confrontation to this dinner together. I feel that it had some eased some tensions throughout. And like I said, it tied into the whole protagonist scene, brings them a reason to Mel Gibson to feel even as crazy it is throughout, to go after them after being a part of the family, even feeling like he's part of that. So that's an important scene for this film. So the new genre of the buddy cop film, these two characters are perfect together in their differences. They're written together to work together really well. Their banter and their contrasting lifestyles help the dialogue flow. With the addition to great action and sound added in, no wonder 3 sequels followed this film.